What's going on, everybody? I want to thank some of you guys for being patient. I apologize. I haven't answered some of my DMs. I had to take a day, a little bit time off. Sometimes you got to refresh, take a time off and reflect, and then you got to come back. So I'll be responding to everybody's DM today, and I'll be giving people updates and following up. So I just want to let you know I didn't forget you. Sometimes I have to take days off because, some of the information I'm studying or some stuff I'm studying can get intense. So yeah, take a little time off. And I want to talk about something today. I want to talk about bills, not Destiny Child type of bills, but these so-called alleged bills that these people send you in the mail. And it's a beautiful thing that we're now coming into a level of consciousness to where we're understanding that these aren't bills. These are basically either forms of negotiable instruments or drafts, and we're just not understanding. All right. So we have to understand that a bill sent for payment is generally considered a final request for payment. So, if someone sends you a final request for payment, like a promissory, like uh, uh, a demand letter, or a notice of acceleration, or whatever term you want to call it, that is what will be considered a notice of final requirement of payment. Okay. So I asked the question to ChatGPT because I know, like, talking to ChatGPT, you have to kind of set it up sometime to answer the question correctly. So we'll go through this and I'll kind of explain why the so-called invoices that you're receiving every month is not a bill, but it is actually a draft. Okay, so you have to understand that these are drafts or short-term notes. When you understand that, you'll know what to do with them. Okay. Number one, a bill, a document that specifies the amount of money owed for goods or services provided. It is a final request for payment. Listen what I just said, a final request for payment. So obviously, when somebody is defaulting you or trying to default you, that is a bill. Okay, when somebody is sending you an invoice, so it'll say there, a bill and an invoice are almost correlate. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody is sending you a invoice or a credit note, we'll get into that in a moment. Okay, so draft. In financial terms, a draft is a written order to pay a specified amount of money to a specified person or entity. It can be compared to a check and is not typically used to describe a bill for goods or services. Well, watch, I'm going to get back to it. Note, a promissory note is a financial instrument containing a written promise by one party, the note's issuer or maker, to pay another party, the note's payee, a definite sum of money. Okay? So listen to the context. A definite sum of money, either on demand or at a specified future date. Again, this is different from a bill sent for goods or services. So, in summary, a bill sent for payment is not considered a draft or a note, but a final request for settlement of an outstanding debt. So, when you get when the banks or the financial institutions are sending you statements, they're sending you drafts. These are not notes. You know what I'm saying? It's a statement of accounting. It's not what we think it or what we thought it was. So it's a statement of accounting. They're basically showing you a statement of accounting, and you can either agree with the statement of accounting or you can disagree. Okay. So I had a great conversation yesterday. I ran into somebody who I didn't remember who she was, but she drove me one time. I was going out, and she drove me down. I hopped in her Uber. She drove me downtown, and we had a little discussion, and I was trying to show her how simple you could keep your writings to make them way more effective and stop making allegations. Okay. Um, but it's kind of crazy that, like, how people don't understand this stuff, but it's very simple. Okay. And I don't even know how I went into that story. But I will talk more about that story because it's a very interesting story. Okay, look, the classification of a payment request document depends on significantly on its wording and purpose. However, there are typically clear distinctions between a draft, a bill, and a note that help determine its nature. Okay, bill. This is an invoice or statement of charges for goods or services rendered. Okay, it is a request for payment and usually indicates that the payment is due for something already provided. Okay, that means that they had to provide you with something. They have to prove that they provided you with something to receive or be able to bill you, which is basically to send you a statement or an invoice to show that there is a commercial nexus between both of you guys. Okay. But here's the issue is the context that the document is used for or the purpose of the document. Okay. So here's a draft, which is section 2. Draft. This is a written order for payment, often used in banking and financing, instructing a bank or a financial institution to pay a specified amount of money from one party's account to another party. So when you're getting these statements, they're acting as bills, but they're really not bills. Drafts are less commonly used in everyday transactions for goods or services. Okay, now, notes. This is a promissory note, which is a written promise to pay a specified sum of money to a specified person or bearer, either on demand or at a future date. It is essentially a loan agreement in written form. Okay. If a document is not clearly labeled or worded, its classification can be indeed ambiguous. Could indeed be ambiguous. However, the context of specific terms within the document usually provide guidance on how it should be interpreted. If it lists goods or services and an amount due, it's typically a bill or invoice. If it contains an instruction to pay a specified amount to a person or entity, it may be a draft. Well, what does it say on your on your statement? It says, make your payments payable to American Express. Make your payments payable to Chase Bank, credit card member services. Make your payments to Capital One. That means it's a draft, baby. It's a draft. See? So you have to read the context of a draft. So if it includes a promise to pay a certain amount at a future date, it is likely a promissory note. It is important for the holder of the document to clarify its nature. If there is any ambiguity, to ensure proper handling and avoid potential disputes. So if you receive a note, you know you can challenge your bills. Like you can challenge it and say, is this a draft or is it a note? You just ask these people these questions. Stop. Here's the problem. When you're in a business relationship, you need to communicate with your business partner. A lot of you guys are asking questions to a lot of online so-called gurus, and a lot of online so-called gurus, all they do is speculate. You see what I'm saying? So since they speculate, it you don't know the truth. And when you know the truth, then and only then you can actually operate in honor. So a lot of you guys may not understand this. Some of you guys may understand this, but I wanted to go over this to kind of give you some sauce. So when you guys are actually receiving these so-called bills, they are actually drafts. If it makes the order payable to someone, then it's a draft. And with that being said, I would like to thank all you people who support the channel, who like the channel. I'm thankful for all of that. And I want to thank some of you people who I've done consultations with, um, and have a great day.